Hey guys, welcome to MERN Stack user-auth Boilerplate. In this video, I'm going to show you all the features of this application and then explain about web architecture, design patterns, logics, and the code in a high-level view. Let's watch the demo video first to see what features it has. I hope you enjoyed the demo video, and let me start talking about the architecture and its design pattern of this web application. First of all, it consists of three tiers. One is client tier that communicates with users on the browser. Second one is business logic tier, aka application server, that communicates between browsers and database in the middle. And the last one is database tier that manages all the data coming from client side. So let's see how it works with a simple example. Let's say you want to log in. First, you have to fill out an email address and password on the browser. After you fill out the form and hit login button, the server will deliver the email and password to the database following the logics. If there's a same email address and password in the database, it'll send you a success response. Otherwise, you'll get a false response. Also, this web application follows MVC pattern, which stands for Model View Controllers. The model component corresponds to all the data-related logic that the user works with. In this project, we used Mongoose. And as you can see the code, this is Mongoose user schema. So when you see the username, when you see the username, email, and password, the data type is set to be string. For the email, it must be trimmed, which means there must not be an empty space between letters. The view component is used for all the UI logic of the application, and React was used in this client folder. The controller component acts as an interface between model and view components to process all the business logic and incoming requests. To do this job, Express framework has been used, and if you see the auth.js file in controllers folder, you can see all the logics for register, activate account, log in, forget password, and reset password. Let's take a look at the logics more detail. To register a new user account, the user have to go through two steps. One is to fill out the necessary information such as username, email, and password, and the other one is to verify the email to be saved into the database. So if the users try signing up with the junk email address that doesn't exist, they can never be registered. This can be a hassle for users since they can't sign up directly, but for your service, it would be great because it can prevent your database from anonymous junk emails. So let's take a look at the first step. Oops, what's going on here? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. So first, we're going to take the username, email, and password and see if the email is already registered. So if it is, we'll send an error message that the email is already taken. Otherwise, we will generate a JSON Web Token that takes username, email, and password as a payload, and then send a verification email that includes JSON Web Token using SendGrid mail service. The next step we want to do is to activate the account. To do that, we're going to take the JSON Web Token and verify if it's valid. So if it's not valid, we will send an error message again. Otherwise, we will decode it to get the username, email, password, and save it to the database. So let's recap the signing up process looking over the code. So here it is. So as you can see, we have a register logic and account activation logic here for signing up. So if you see the register logic, so the first thing we do is we take the username, email, and password, and then we're going to see if the account is already registered. So if it's already registered in our database, then we're going to send a error message like, "Hey, your email is already taken. Please use another one." So if it's not registered, then we're going to generate a token, JSON Web Token, that takes the username, email, and password as payload, and then we will send a verification email to the user. So if it goes successful without any errors, then we're going to send a success message with the success status code. If it's not, we're going to send an error message like this. All right, and the next step we do is the account activation. So the first thing we do is we take the token, JSON Web Token, and then we're going to verify it. So if it's let's take a look at the async one because it looks more convenient and simple, more than this one. So so what we do is we're going to verify the token. So if it's not valid, we're going to send an error message like something went wrong, please try it again. Otherwise, if the token is valid, we're going to decode the JSON Web Token. So we will get the username, email, password because as you can see here, when we generate the JSON Web Token, we use the username, email, password as payload, so we can get it again when we decode the token. So it's pretty easy. So after we decode the token and get these information, we're going to save it into our database. So if everything goes successfully, then we're going to send the success message. Otherwise, we're going to send the error message. So that's all about the logics for signing up. The next thing I want to look over is login routes and login logic. As you can see here, login logic is much more simple than the register logic. So first what we do is we take the email and password, and then we're going to see if the email is registered. So if the email is not registered, that means this user needs to be signed up first. Okay, so we're going to send an error message, and if the email is registered, then we're going to compare the password, because when we save the user's plain password, like 123456, it'll be saved as the hashed password into the database. So we're going to compare So it'll compare the plain password and hashed password, and if it's matched, we're going to generate JSON Web Token and save it. The reason why we generate JSON Web Token is because when you logged in, your account needs to be maintained the session. So that's why. So let's take a look at the code here. So this is the login logic. So what we do first is we take the email and password, and then what we're going to do is here, if you see this user model, okay, so we have another method here. So basically what we do is we're going to find the user by its email. So if the user is registered, if it's not registered, we're going to send an error message like, hey, this is an invalid email. Otherwise, that means this user is registered. So we're going to, what we do next is we will compare the password if it's matched. So if the password is not matched, we will also send an error message. If it is, the next thing we do is generate JSON Web Token. So if everything goes successfully, so we're going to send a success message. Otherwise, we're going to send an error message. All right. Let's move to the next logic. So the next logic is the forget password. All right. So when you forgot your password, what we're going to do is we're going to take the email first, and then we're going to check the email. So if your email is registered, that means we can send you. I'm sorry. I'll say it again. Okay. So let me say it again. So if your email is not registered, that means you cannot find your password, right? Because it's not registered. So we're going to send an error message. And if your email is registered, then we're going to generate a JSON Web Token and send it to your email. Okay. The next thing what you're going to do is you have to reset your password. So the first thing what we do is we take the JSON Web Token and verify if it's valid. So this JSON Web Token includes your information, so your ID information in the database. So so if it's valid, so we're going to find the user by the token, and then you're going to update the password, and then it's going to be it'll be saved into the database. So that's all about the forget password and reset password. And let's see the logic in the code. So this is the forget password logic here. So what we do is we take the email first, and then we're going to check if the email is registered into our database. So if we cannot find the email address in the database, then we will send an error message like this. If we found the email, which means if it's registered, then we're going to generate the JSON Web Token, and we're going to use the ID as the user's ID as a payload. So if you see the ID, what it means is like, so if you see this MongoDB database here, you can see the ID into our database. So we're going to find the user by its ID in the database. So that's what it means. And also, after we generate the JSON Web Token, we're going to send an email again. Okay, so this process looks pretty similar with the register logic, but the only difference is we have to update the user information first. So in the forget password logic, what we need to add is this one. Okay, so we're going to update the user. So as you can see, the user model or user schema here, we have like a reset password link section here. So basically, we're gonna save the token in the reset password link. Okay, that's what it is. And then the next thing we do is we're gonna reset the password. So the first thing what we do is we're gonna take the reset password link, which is JSON Web Token, and then new password that the user types. So and then the next thing we want to do is we want to verify the JSON Web Token if it's valid. So if it's not valid, we're going to send an error message. If it is, we're going to find the user, and then what we do is we're going to update the user information. So the the password will become like a new password, like that. And then also we're going to empty the we're going to make the reset password link as empty one for the next time. So, and then once we finish the update, we're going to save it into our database. So if everything goes successfully, we're going to send a success message. Otherwise, we're going to send an error message. All right, so I hope you understand about its architecture, design pattern, and logics that have been used in this application. If you have some more questions, please let me know on the comments. Thanks for watching.